Allocation concealment can be defined as a person or a system responsible for randomizing patients into treatment and control groups. This person, system, should not know what the treatment will be. This person or system must also conceal the method that was used for randomization from the study investigators and participants.
So now I will go over the different methods of allocation concealment. The first method is called SNOS, which stands for Sequentially Numbered Opaque Sealed Envelopes. The way this works is, say there are 500 patients to be randomized. There would be 500 envelopes numbered from 1 to 500. And then the randomizer would take the list of 500 patients and assign each one to an envelope starting with the first envelope. These envelopes contain which arm of the treatment trial the patient will be assigned to, and the envelopes themselves are also randomized. The second method of allocation concealment is the use of numbered containers. These containers are pharmacy controlled and again numbered from 1 to 500 for an example. Each container has contents that are identical and they also look identical. So let's say they would all have 2 inhalers in them. The pharmacy controls which boxes get placebos and which ones get the treatment, and then these boxes are assigned in a random order similar to the envelope system. The last method of allocation concealment is called centralized. This is the strongest one in practice. This involves usually using an outside company with no knowledge of the treatment and uses computer algorithms that are proven for randomization to randomize patients into groups.
So this slide explains the difference between the allocation concealment and blinding. The purpose of the allocation concealment is to conceal randomization sequence, and blinding is to make participants or investigator or both unaware of the treatment received. Bias prevented for allocation concealment is selection bias, and for blinding is observation bias. And timing trial is done when patient enters the trial for allocation concealment, and for blinding it occurs after patient has entered the trial. Selection bias is a distortion in a measure of association due to a sample selection that does not accurately reflect the target population. And on the other side, observational bias is a tendency to see what we expect to see or what we want to see.
So why do we need allocation concealment? There are 3 major reasons why. The first one is to prevent selection bias, like described in the last slide. And the reason why we need to prevent this is because selection bias can actually invalidate a trial's results. And the third reason is because it strengthens the overall study.
These are some examples of how allocation concealment is portrayed in the articles we read in class. For example, we have an electronic clinical record system concealed the patient's treatment assignments until the time of randomization. That is an example of the quote on the article Number Star Study. And then in the articles Sigma 2 and Space Trial, the information provided under randomization is not enough to determine what they did to prevent allocation concealment.
In a BMJ review, it was found that over 40% of the reviewed articles that were published in major medical journals either used inadequate allocation concealment or failed to describe how they concealed. That is a huge number of studies in the many reputable journals that may be presenting results potentially skewed by poor allocation concealment. Safeguarding the randomization sequence before and until allocation can always be implemented.